name is Jane, and today we're going to talk about building a resume using G Suite, which is Google's set of programs that do word processing. So specifically, we're going to talk about using Google Docs to create a resume. So to start with, I just wanted to show you kind of the finished product, what we would build using this. So this is the template that I like to use for my resume. I've personally used it with a lot of success. And it's just very simple and bare bones. So the top is just your contact information. That's your name, your phone number, your address, and your email address. And then you want to have your work experience. If you have a lot of work experience, then you only want to list the things that are relevant to the job that you're applying to. So if you're applying to a job in sales, like retail or waitressing, then you want to highlight experience from your past in customer service. So for this particular resume, looking at sales associate jobs that you've had in the past and a waitressing job to show that you've got that customer service experience, and you just want to highlight that in here. And then you want to talk about your volunteer experience. Not everybody has volunteer experience, but it can be very valuable, especially if you don't have an extensive or a very long work history. Having some volunteer experience in there can help kind of pad that and show that you have some skills, even if you weren't paid for them. So next you want to have your education. And so this is an example of what it would look like if you had a GED certificate. I'll show you what to do if you have a high school diploma or a college degree whenever we write the example. And then you want to highlight your skills at the bottom. So like I said before, this is just the template that I like to use. If you personally do not like this template, let me show you how to access a different template using using G Suite and Google Docs. So this is the folder that I've just been working in. So come back to your whatever your Drive folder is, or wherever you open a Google Doc from. And so you'll click New, which is this button over here to the left. And then you go down to where it says Google Docs. Don't click it, but just come over here to this arrow, and then you're going to click from a template over here. Once that opens, you're just going to scroll down to where it says Resumes, and you can pick any of these. I'll just pick this one to do an example really quick. So it opens, and it's got stuff in it to show you where to put your information. So like where it says your name, I would put the cursor here and backspace that off, and then just write Sam Smith. And then over here, like for your address, just to stay with my example, and then write your city. And I'll keep their fake numbers. But you would just go down through the whole thing and do that. So over here where it says skills, you would just delete all of this and then just type in your skills. The same thing over here for experience. The way this is worded, I would include volunteer and work experience under this, especially if you don't have a lot of work experience. So again, it's similar to the other format. You just say where you worked and what you did there and when. But it's pretty self-explanatory. You just follow where the sections are and then just write in what you had instead. So that's how you use their template. I prefer mine just because I think that it's a little easier for me to read and understand without kind of having to look all over the page for information. So, but if you like this instead, or if you like one of the other templates instead, those are perfectly fine. So I'm going to close out of that. So looking back at this page, you have your work experience, and what you want to write is the company you worked for, your job title, when you worked there, the dates that you worked there. I like to do mine just to save space and make it look a little cleaner. I do the first 3 letters of the month, followed by a period, a space, the full year, space, dash, the 3 letters for the month that I quit or left, period, space, and the year. So that's how I like to have it formatted. I think that it looks really clean and really neat. You can write the months out if you want. I don't like that they're all different lengths, so like I said, I keep mine short so that they're all the same. After that, you want to include what you did while you were there. And so this area is just the area that you use to say what skills you had while you were there. Maybe there were skills you developed while you were there, or skills that you got to use at that particular job. And even if you have a bad experience at a job, you still gain some kind of skill from being there. Maybe you gain skills in dealing with people that are difficult to deal with, or maybe you gain skills with using the software they used to check out customers. If you're really having a lot of trouble coming up with this section, one of the tips that I have is that you can use Google. So I would come over here and go google.com, and then I would type resume waitress skills. Clearly I've already done this. And then you can pick one. So the Balance Careers is a good website. Indeed's a good website. These are all really great websites. So you can just pick the one that maybe sounds good to you. I liked Indeed, so I clicked that one. And I have it open over here. So this just says 10 resume skills for waiters and waitresses with examples. So you can find something like this to help kind of jog your memory. Maybe you worked there a really long time ago and you don't really remember the kinds of skills that you had, or you know what you did day to day, but you don't know how to make that sound good on a resume. This kind of website can kind of help you think about that. So this is like point of sale system. So in a restaurant, you learned how to use a point of sale system and you've already been trained on that. So at a new restaurant, they wouldn't have to waste time training you, which would make you an invaluable asset. And that's what you're really trying to do with a resume. You're trying to show why they should hire you. And so that's where you list these skills. So maybe you worked at a restaurant and you had experience with point of sale systems. You had experience with food safety. You used effective communication and active listening to communicate well and to provide good customer service. So I kind of used those as examples and came back over here to write that. So look, like I said, customer service, point of sale systems, safe food handling, clear communication, effective listening. A lot of those are really like buzzy words or keywords that employers kind of look for on a resume. So you want to include some of those kinds of words and phrases so that you kind of stand out and it looks like you know what you're talking about. So you want to be truthful. Don't ever say anything on a resume that you haven't actually done, but you want to find the right way to say what you did so that it sounds really good to the person that's going to read the resume. So once you've got your skills on there, you've got what you did there and the skills you got at that job, when you worked there, all of that, you're going to come down to volunteer and do basically the same exact thing. And then for education, high school and college education can look a little bit similar to the way this is phrased, but for a general education development certificate or a GED, it would look kind of like this. So you just say GED and then when you got it. And then down here you would list some of those skills out. I left this resume at one page. You could include more skills if you wanted to. So now that I've kind of shown you this and shown you how to get some tips for making these sections sound just right, let me show you how to actually do the formatting to create this document. So you're going to come over to your folder, whichever place that you use to open a Google document, and you're going to open a new document. So over here on the left, click New, and click Google Docs. So this is just a bare blank document. And because my computer has this little formatting problem, I actually have to do this where I go to Format, Align and Indent, Indentation. I have to change this number right here to 0, and I have to turn that off. I don't know why my computer does that. The default is supposed to be that your cursor starts right here, but for some reason mine starts in the middle of the page. So that's not a step that you should have to do. First thing that I like to do is come over here and say what this is. So it would be Sam Smith resume, and it's a sample, so I'm going to write sample. So I like to have my contact information centered, and I like to have my name in bold. So how you're going to make it bold is you're going to come over here where it says B. You hover and it says bold, you just click it. And then you write your name. Space down. I'm going to click the B again because I want to turn that off. So click the B again, and now your text is regular text. So we're going to say phone number is 555-555-5555. And then maybe your address. So that's just a sample. And you're going to put your email address here at the bottom. So after you have all of this information in, I'm going to hit enter, and then see my cursors down here right in the center. I want my other information to be over here. So I'm going to go up to this button where I had clicked it to be center. I'm going to click it to be back over on the left, like that. So first section is, again, I want it to be bold, so I'm going to come up here and click the B, and I'm going to say work experience. And you see Google's trying to help me fill this in. If you want to use that, just click the right arrow on your keyboard. And then I'm going to turn bold back off, so click it again. And I'm going to insert a line here to make it clear where the sections start and end. So to do that, we're going to go up here and click insert, where it says insert in these options. And then all the way down here where it says horizontal line. Just click, and there you go. So it's kind of that nice, clean way to say where the section starts. And I really like to do that because I think that it makes the resume look really nice. So my first place that I had, I'm going to say Belk. I was a sales associate. That was my job title. I worked there from January. Again, I'm just do the first 3 letters, period, space, year. And then dash. And then I like this number to line up with that line. So I actually, after I type it in, I put my cursor right before the J, so I come over here and just click right before the J, and I click that space bar until it looks like it's lined up pretty good. And sometimes you go over and you just, you come up and you hit backspace on your keyboard just once. So I like that that looks nice and clean. It's got that, where it's on the right side, and then your other information's on the left, so it's kind of clear. So then I hit enter to bring my cursor back down here, and so I'm gonna do a bulleted list. So to do that, you're just gonna take your cursor up here to all these little icons, and you're gonna click this one. So if you hover, it says bulleted list, so just click that. And then you're gonna list what you did while you were there. So you provided excellent customer service. And I'm just gonna keep these short because they're on your sample document, so I don't think you need me to write them out again. You maintained displays, you used point of sale system, what else did you do? You assisted, you can even say how many customers. You assisted like 40 customers per day. So you've got those in there, and now you're just going to space down. So you don't want bullets here anymore. You can either backspace those to make them go away, and then backspace again to get over here, or you can do the same thing by hitting the enter key on the keyboard. So your next place that you worked is going to be Waffle House. And again, you're going to come down and say what your title was when you were there. You were a waitress. And then you're going to move your cursor over and say when you worked there. So let's say February of 2015 to December of 2015 maybe. And again, see, this came down here and I don't want that, so I'm going to come up here and put the cursor, click right before the F for February, and backspace until it's where I want it to be. So like that. And then I'm going to come down, again, make a bulleted list. So come up here and click bulleted list, and you're going to type what you did while you were there. So you provided customer service, you used point of sale system, you served, I don't know what the average is for a Waffle House, let's say 30 customers per day. You used effective communication, skills, to get customer orders. So just something like that. You would make it sound better. But we're going to click down here again and then click your cursor over. Whenever I start a new section, I like to hit space and leave that little extra space right here. So whenever I clicked over here, I actually clicked enter to make it go down to the next space. So now you're going to type, first you're going to come up here and click the B again because this is a new section, so you want it to match this one. And so the B is bold, so click the B, volunteer experience, and then turn that off. You're going to come over and click insert again and horizontal line. And then you're going to do the next one. So this is just an example, keeping with kind of that food theme. So you want to list what you did while you were there. So if you had a title as a volunteer, you can include that. If you didn't have a title, you can just go straight into what you did while you were there. So that, again, bulleted list. You greeted meeting attendees. You prepared food in kitchen. You used food safe techniques. And maybe, let's see, what else would you do? Used food safe techniques, and I don't know, what did I say over here? That's all I had. Okay, so let's space over and we're going to list, again, this is a new section, so I'm going to hit enter to go down another one, another line, and just leave that space so it looks a little cleaner. And come up here again and hit B, and you're going to say education. And then again, turn the B off, turn the bold off, insert horizontal line, and then let me show you what it looks like if you went to high school and got a high school diploma. So it looks similar to what this looks like up here. You would say, let's see, I'll just say Russellville High School. I don't actually know if that's the name of their high school. And you got a high school diploma. And let's say that you got that in May of 2015. And again, you want that to kind of line up over here, so you kind of space it like that. We forgot to add the dates up here, so let me just move those over. Let's say that you volunteered at Real Recovery while you were working at Belk. So maybe it's January of 2017 to March of 2018. Again, that went over, so you want to space it so it looks just right. And see, all those line up and they look kind of nice over there on the side. So you want to come down here. So this is what you say if you had a high school diploma. It looks the same for college. You would say Arkansas Technical University, and then Bachelor's of Science or Art in whatever you studied, psychology, biology, business administration, whatever, and then when you got that. If you have space at the end, you can always list your skills. So I had that on the other one, but this one actually looks a little bit full. So it's the same process. You would come over, leave a little space, turn bold on because it's a heading, say skill, insert that horizontal line, turn the bold off, and then this one just starts with a bulleted list. So you'll come up here and click the bulleted list and then start listing your your skills. So you might say experienced in using point of sale systems. And if you know specifically what one is, I just happen to know off the top of my head that Belk is SAS. So you might say experienced in using point of sale systems including SAS. And you could also say excellent customer service skills. And you might include something like effective listening, clear communication, persuasive speaking skills. There's a lot that you can unpack there. So that's kind of where you would go look for the websites like Indeed that might have some, that might be able to help you find some skills. So a really important thing on a resume is to make sure that everything is spelled correctly and that everything has good grammar. So one of the things that you can do is use a website called Grammarly, which is what I have down here. So I don't know if you noticed this little red thing. So as you look through the document, it actually has stuff underlined. And then when I hover over the item, it will say prepared food and kitchen. It thinks I should say the kitchen. So I click it and it changes it. That should be hyphenated. Oh, okay. I'll click that and it hyphenates it. This needs to say clear. So I click that and it changes. And then it spins over here and it tells me when it's green, it's all good. And when it's red, it has problems. So Grammarly is a free program. You can put it on any computer. I'll spell it out here really quick for you. It's G-A-R Grammarly.com. So that's a really good website to use on any document word processor that you need to make sure it doesn't have any spelling errors or poor grammar. So that's it for today. Just formatting on this and looking at different templates for your resume and what needs to be on there. So that's all we've got. Thanks for watching the video, and I really hope that it was helpful.